Hey guys, Sean here. Today, Luke and I will be ranking the most annoying decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! So, let's get right into it. We have some tiers here. We have, you only won because Inspector Border gives me the Rune Ick, Flew These Nuts, and Salaman Skin better, to be honest. So, let's begin with the worst card ever made. I don't know if this is like, Inspector Border tier or like top tier.
Honestly, I think top tier, mostly because this deck is
the worst.
It's so no. I do not understand how someone can play this and actually have fun. I mean, you're just a masochist if you like playing this deck. I mean, the amount of times you just be like on Nexus, or even I've seen this played on locals a few times. I played against this on locals.
Really? Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
and it's just so annoying. I kind of just look at it thinking like, how do you find enjoyment in this?
A lot of Master Rule people play it as well, and it's just like, this is not fun for
Yeah.
anyone involved.
You're sitting on 3 normal summonable floodgates, and then you have a bunch of like back row floodgates, and it's just like your end goal is so stupid. There's like no skill at all. I mean, there's always the idea of like, oh yeah, big meta decks, they don't really take much skill, they just have the best cards, but like at least they learn combos and stuff like that. This is just normal summon pass, normal summon set 3 pass. Like the most mind-numbing crap that you just can't out unless you have like the out, literally. So yeah, I think Inspector Board is probably definitely one of the worst, so I would put it in top tier.
The thing about it is, like, you can call this an anti-meta deck, but like, it's not gonna beat like really good players, and it's not gonna beat really good decks. If you like steal someone wins with this, that's just because they didn't draw the out. Okay, labyrinths are pretty annoying, but they're you can deal with them. And okay, look, let's be honest, they're labyrinths. They're a waifu deck. Like, I can't put them up too high. At least you have to look at the cards,
Yeah, you'd be stoned if you put it up too high. Yeah, Labyrinths, they're a very strong deck, but like not every strong deck is necessarily an annoying deck.
It's just because it's a trap deck,
Yeah, I think it's just because it's a trap deck, and most people kind of think that just because a deck wins a lot does not necessarily mean that it's annoying. There is ways to counter this. I countered it by siding in a Royal Decree, which I find pretty funny. You might call me a hypocrite after that big rant on a special border, but I don't care. I really don't care. I think if you're out as a side deck option, it's fine. I did it legally. Inspector Border players, you suck. But Labyrinths are they're kind of in this odd category where they're so strong, but they're not really seeing the toppest of top tier competitiveness. They're a very strong rogue deck, so I can respect it in the sense that yeah, it is very strong. Not necessarily annoying. I mean, I was quite annoyed the amount of times I get Eradicator Epidemic Virus when I'm playing Sky Strikers with this deck, but that annoyance came from a singular card that's not archetypal, if you get me. So yeah, it's a good deck. Has its moments, but I wouldn't say it's like annoying.
And the thing about these like meta decks is that like they're gonna get hit. They're like always on the cusp of getting hit, so An annoying deck is a deck that's gonna be annoying no matter what, you know what I mean? No one's gonna hit Inspector Border. People are going to hit Labyrinths eventually, so they're not going to be annoying forever. Next up we have Trickstar. So Trickstar are kind of annoying because, burn for 200. You're going to hear that 10 fucking times as you're playing against Trickstar. But no one plays Trickstar, that's the problem. No one plays the deck, so it's not that annoying because you're never going to play against it.
Yeah, honestly, I think the most annoying thing about Trickstar, besides like having to mess with your life points every 2 minutes, is that little combo they had with the Trickstar Reincarnation and Droll. But I've been in situations, well, only once, let's be honest, I've been in a situation once where that came up, and I still was able to put up a good fight with the player. I don't necessarily think I won, but it was just like they have like annoying little intricate details like that. But the most annoying part is burn for 200. But I think the main thing that's keeping this away from being a completely annoying deck is the fact that all their monsters are really weak. They're not very immune to anything. They don't really have a big towers that is like keeping them like winning all the time. It's a very, very like good deck. It's decent, but in terms of annoying, you can beat it quite easily. So I don't think that it deserves to be as high on this list. compared to some of the other ones.
Okay, Grenmodu. Grenmodu is one of those decks that is just not fun to fight against. I'd say this is the worst deck in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, I hate seeing the amount of people that bring it to like proper events and stuff like that, because it's just kind of like you're just playing a deck that doesn't take a whole lot of brain power. If you draw well, you win the game. I don't know, I have mixed feelings on Grenmodu. I think, like, yeah, sometimes I laugh because it's a funny troll deck, but at the same time, oh, it's just so fucking stupid and so annoying. Because all you're doing is banishing it, which is so easy with likes of that Gizmek thing and Pot of Desires and like loads of different intricate crap that basically just makes like Grenmodu himself a huge monster. At least with Skull Servants, you're kind of limited with the things in your grave that ups King of Skull Servants' attack. Grenmodu is just particular cards itself. That's not necessarily just your own, it's just banished cards in general that make it big, which is just so annoying. Grenmodu is just one of those decks that is just so annoying, and whenever I see it hit the board, I just know I'm not in for a good time.
Now, before we go any further, let me just clarify. If you play any of these decks, good for you. If you're having fun, that's awesome and epic. We're talking about the decks here. The decks are cringe. So, you know, just if you're one of these players down in the comments, you know, leave a comment and tell us that you played them, because that'd be really cool. I think everyone would like to know that you're a Grenmodu or Inspector Border player. Alright, we have Crystal Beasts. They can be quite annoying with their Floodgate cards like Necro Valley and Secret Village. And, you know, they're just a very strong, like, kind of, not anti-meta deck, but like a rogue deck. They're pretty damn good. Conclave Control can be a very, like, tough deck to play against, almost feeling unfair at some points. But, you know, the deck is just good. I feel like it's not too annoying. It's a little bit annoying with the Floodgates, but that's about it, you know?
Yeah, I definitely feel like it lands in the same category as Trickstar. I think it's in the perfect position just because, yeah, they do annoying stuff. However, they don't really have big towers, guys, that are like annoying. I think the most annoying thing you see with Crystal Beast is that they bring up Floodgates like Babushka, Necro Valley, and Secret Village, as you said, but like they're all outsider cards that this deck can just so happens to take advantage of. It's not necessarily their fault that it's like a really floodgatey type of thing. Crystal Beast was never really about floodgates. It just kind of ended that way with the structure deck making it very much a control sort of situation. But yeah, it's a good deck, but you can beat it. It's not as good as Labyrinth. It's a Crystal Beast deck.
Okay, we have Heroes next. I'm gonna put Heroes up a little bit because it does have some very annoying cards. Like, I think the individual cards are very strong. So you have DPE, you have Dark Law, you have Dark Angel, you have Plasma. These cards on their own are super strong. Depending on what situation you're in, you can just go for any one of these cards, pretty much. But you know, it's Heroes. It's very easy to disrupt their combos. You know, their annoying Floodgates can be outed way easier than like proper trap Floodgates. And you know, they're Heroes, they're cool, but they can be very annoying. They have the potential to be extremely annoying and strong.
Yeah, and also the thing with Heroes, they have a really good recovery rate as well. So even if you do manage to like break down all of their annoying crap, they can also kind of like get back into the game, no problem at all. But you know what? I think, like, having said that, that is something that does take skill. It's not necessarily just set a card, flip it during your opponent's turn, and then boom, you're pretty much just sitting around for 20 minutes, 40 minutes until you win the game. Heroes, they're intricate in the sense that they take proper skill, they take proper timing, they take thought and effort. So I have respect for hero players. The deck can be a little bit annoying at times, but it's not necessarily, it doesn't give me the run ick. I'll give you that. That's pretty much it.
You know, it does give me the run ick though. Fucking Map Mechs. Here's the thing, like, so Map Mechs, you know, I think it's a very cool deck. I feel like, you know, if a deck's gonna be a meta deck, I think this is like a cool meta deck. I know it's not meta right now, it's like probably rogue. But the thing is, it's just almost impossible to interrupt. You can have like 2 or 3 hand traps and you can still get fucking destroyed by Map Mechs. Like, going first, their main combo is so good. Now, here's the thing, they did limit Circular. So my knowledge here is going off pre-limit circular, because this deck, it was just so difficult to disrupt. They could almost always end on their trap card, and then they go into their XZs, which, you know, destroys like a bunch of cards on your hand field and all that. Also, they can like OTK out of nowhere, like pretty much going second, you were getting OTK'd by Map Mech. It's, you know, it's a cool deck, and I do kind of like it, but it can be very annoying. It's just very strong, you know. It's one of those type of decks where it's like, it kind of feels like you get blindsided every time you play against it. Alright, we have Branded. So, you know, Branded can be pretty annoying because it's kind of like, you know, activate Branded Fusion and then go full combo from there. You can get like Gimmick Puppet locked and all that. It's always been kind of like an annoying strong deck. I feel like it's more annoying for casuals though, because like, it's very weak in certain ways. Like, if you Ash Branded Fusion, I know it's a meme, oh, Ash Branded Fusion and you lose, which first of all is not true, but at the same time, it's like a lot of Branded players can just lose when they get ashed. So I don't think it's that like annoying. It can be a little bit annoying. As a Branded player myself, not really a Branded player, but like I play Branded Engine in a lot of other decks. It's, you know, it's not that annoying. I can understand the annoyance that people feel when, you know, oh, easy Mirror Jade, oh, easy destroy my whole board, banish my stuff, non-targeting. So yeah, I'd say for like new players or like casual players or just players who are not like the top of competitive, it can be quite a pain.
I tell you where my annoyance mostly comes from when it comes to Branded. It's always just a sense that you're always facing Branded now. I think like whenever we go to locals, if there's 5 rounds, I swear minimum 3 of those rounds is against a Branded player, and that's if I'm doing well or if I'm doing bad. Everyone just has access to it in the sense that, yeah, they can play it pure, they can play it with Witchcraft, they can play it with Skull Surf. I know I encourage that thing, but you know, I'm just saying it's just so annoying to see it all the time. And when your opponent just activates Branded Fusion and you don't have the Ash, you're just sitting back for 20 minutes until they just finish off their combo, and it's the same thing over and over again. So my annoyance mostly comes from not necessarily the deck itself,
but the players.
Don't call me out like this, man. They already know I'm antisocial. But like, yeah, it's just mostly in the sense that I'm like, okay, yeah, we're doing this song and dance again for the 4th time today, and I'm just not in the mood.
I think that's fair enough. This deck has been meta relevant for like years at this point.
Yeah,
it's actually kind of insane looking back at it. It's been, well, okay, I say years. Destruction Deck came out in 2022, like I think January 2022. So, you know, a year and a bit, almost 2 years now. This deck has been like relevant. I'm sure people back in the World Legacy formats felt the same way about World Legacy, because they basically had support, you know, all the way through for like a year or two. So yeah, it's, you know, it's not too bad. I will say that Kashtira is above these, but not as bad as the top 2. Mainly because, you know, you're actually playing the game when you're playing against Kashtira, and they can, like, there's a lot of things that can just kill Kashtira. You know, they can brick, you can draw Nibiru, you can draw Kaijus, you can, you know, imperm at the right time or Ash or whatever. I don't think it's too bad.
Honestly, if Kashtira was still at full power, I think it would have made it into you could only one because. But the fact that like Konami is kind of taking a step back, they're kind of banning a few cards here and there. I don't think like we've seen the full extent to how they're going to neuter this deck. So yeah, as of right now, it will be an Inspector border, but I don't know if it will ever like get much lower. Well, here's the thing that like pissed a lot of people off. It was the zone locking. The fact that your opponent can zone lock you almost entirely out of playing the game is so absolutely annoying. But it's just the fact that a Rise Heart was a problem and it's a mandatory effect. You know, that's like the biggest issue with it. But now that a Rise Heart's limited, just out it once and then you're probably fine. I think the main issue with Kashtira I have is the fact that Fenrir can go in pretty much any deck. But as I said in prediction, Fenrir is probably going to be hit soon anyway, so like, it's annoying but tolerable. Inspector border is the place where it needs to be.
Here's the thing, now that you mentioned it, if Diablos was still legal, but you know, he's not legal anymore, so I think about here. But yeah, if zone locking was in the game, then like, you know.
Yeah.
Alright, Runic. I think Runic is toxic as all hell. this deck is something else. So yeah, I'm a bit of a Master Duel player, and when Runic first came out, everyone was playing Runic Stun, which is objectively the worst way to play it, but the most annoying way to play Runic. Getting your whole deck banished turn after turn is one of the worst feelings in the game. Honestly, it's just depressing because you lose so many cards every turn. When you try to actually do something, your opponent stops you from doing that. Runic Fountain keeps their resources going. They can activate random stuff from their hand whenever they want. And then you just lose all your cards, and then you're down to one card in deck, and you draw your last card, and then you just die. This deck fucking sucks.
Yeah, as a recovering Runic player myself, I do know how toxic this deck can be. Here's the thing: what really put me off Runic, besides the fact that I was actually profiting after buying the cards, which was a nice little stonks on my part there. But here's the one thing: what made me realize Runic was really, really bad was I brought Runic Stun to locals, and I played it against a few people. I didn't necessarily do great. I don't even think, if we played 5 rounds, I don't even think I won 3 or 4. But playing against the players, they were all playing and they were all kind of they just seemed so uninterested in the game. They seemed so bored. They kind of seemed, I don't want to say sad because it is a game at the end of the day, but they just seemed okay, this is the biggest waste of time, and I felt so bad. It's just because they paid money to participate, and I bring this bullshit. It's just not a nice feeling to play against Runic, and I will admit I did feel bad playing it. I don't know how people play the likes of Inspector Board or Grand Maju, because I'm just how do you play this with a smile on your face? I lost interest in Runic because I seen the opponents lost interest, and I just didn't like that feeling at all. So yeah, understanding Runic is pure toxic. However, I will say I redeemed myself because I played against a guy who was playing Naturnia Runic while I was playing Virtual World, and I just let him banish all my shit while I chooch up. You think I give a fuck about that shit? No, motherfucker, you're helping me out.
He's so good, holy shit.
So I feel I felt like I did a little bit of a redemption for all you guys who hate Runic, so I hope that you guys can all find it in your heart to forgive me, and we can move past this stage in our life, because oh my god, I do understand Runic is proper cancer.
Alright, speaking of proper cancer.
Shut the fuck up. No.
I mean,
I will admit, it probably deserved to be in Give Me the Run.
Okay.
I say put it at the bottom. It's definitely worse than Heroes.
The thing is, there's so many board breakers and just cards that kind of they only work going second. So you set up your board and all that, and you think you're in a good position, and then they Raigeki you, and Raigeki you again, and they Lightning Storm, and they Kaiju you, and they steal your stuff for Widow Anchor, and it's just, it's fun.
It's so funny. It's so based. Play it. It's the best deck of all time.
Yeah, but it is a very vulnerable deck, If you make them go first, they can't do too much. Certain floodgates destroy this deck, so, it's not that bad, because you can definitely play around it. But yeah, it can be quite not fun. Generators, I have a hatred of generators, but I don't think they're that good. The main issue is just that they can basically do stuff whenever they want. So if they have their boss stage up, when you draw a card, even for a turn, they get special summon a generator from their deck, which is, not fun. But then, when they special summon a generator on your turn, they get to special summon a bunch of tokens, and then they can use those tokens to activate their effects. So you can negate, you can pop cards, you can banish stuff. It's just so not fun to play against. I know the deck's not good. I know in my heart it's not a good deck, but the amount of times I've gotten destroyed by it, I hate it. I just hate it so much. Okay, we have Sword Soul. I honestly think this should go down here. I've seen better.
Yeah, honestly, Sword Soul is a great deck, fantastic deck. It can set up really well. It has a bunch of great recovery cards. I think Sword Soul is such a good deck. However, I think a lot of people will agree with me when I say it's probably the most fair deck there is.
Honestly, yeah.
Because it's kind of in the sense that they can bring out really great, quote unquote, boss monsters. However, the boss monsters, although some of them have a one-time protection, where that one guy who can banish a card instead, I think Chenglong is his name or something like that. that's only like once per turn. So if you got to destroy him twice, great. You pretty much outed like the boss. I think the only annoying thing is that it's kind of like a deck that can do everything, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think what kind of like grinds gears on a lot of people is the fact that not only you letting them set up big monsters, not only are they able to sort of bring out a little bit of floodgates or bring out a bunch of negates and stuff like that, but also you get burned as well. You're like, what the fuck, you didn't have to give him that. That's like so unfair. So that's the only thing that I can say about Sword Soul. That's kind of like, okay, you make him go a little bit step too far, but overall I do think it's a very fair deck, and it's something that can be messed around with, and you can definitely have like a fun match playing against them, even if you're getting your ass kicked.
Now I will say, this is TCG. If we're talking about Master Duel, this goes way up here. Mainly because they have Arch Nemesis Protoss. So, you know, you get locked out of any kind of monster type, which really sucks. It's just like one of the worst floodgates. Basically, any of these decks that are like high tier are just floodgate decks. But you know, in the TCG, Sword Soul's not a floodgate deck, so it's based and belongs at the bottom. I've seen more annoying. Speaking of more annoying, Trap Tricks, I'd say go up here. Even though they're objectively worse than Labyrinth, Trap Tricks are so not fun to play against.
Do you really think it's that bad?
I think it's that bad. Okay, look, at least they're more annoying than Labyrinths, but they're not as good as Labyrinths. Like, I understand that they're not nearly as good as Labyrinths, but I'm less annoyed playing against Trap Tricks than Labyrinths.
Here's the thing, I think you lost more to Trap Tricks and I've lost more to Labyrinths. So
Yeah.
I would think Labyrinths are worse, but
That's
no,
fair.
it's like, it's just what you lose to more. They both have like the same idea to them. I suppose the one thing I will say, I'll give you that, is Sarah is a really good card.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is quite annoying.
I just feel like the type of traps that Trap Tricks have are more annoying, because they have like the trap holes, bottomless trap hole especially, where it flips your guy face down. What are you going to do with that card that's face down? You can't do anything with it. It just takes up a zone. You can't link it. You can't, you know, do anything with it. So I feel like the type of cards they have are just way more annoying. You know, with Labyrinths and all that, they can like deprison and they can, you know, compulse, they can special summon their guys from the deck. But you know, you can Ash Welcome Labyrinth and a big Welcome Labyrinth. You can, you know, play around a compulse, but it's so much harder to play around cards like, you know, the trap holes. At least that's how I see it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'll be happy to leave it there. I think, and besides, like, just looking at the cards, they do give me the run ick.
Okay, Mystic Mine.
What the fuck were they thinking?
This is one of the worst cards of all time. Like, genuinely, probably the worst like actual card in the game. They could unban every other card in Yu-Gi-Oh! There could be a ban list of just this card, and that would be fine. The game would be better than having this card in the game.
This card deserves to be Hall of Famed. Here's the thing. Mystic Mine was such a fucking problem that I was main decking Cosmics in all of my builds. I was side decking Dark Hole in everything, just because this card was so annoying and it was finding itself in everywhere. And even the fact that they tainted my beautiful Sky Striker deck is a sin. I've never played Sky Striker Mystic Mine, but at first time we went to locals like properly, first I bring Sky Strikers and the first matchup I have is a Sky Striker Mystic Mine, and I'm just like, oh my god. I still won, which is still cool.
Based.
However, just seeing Mystic Mine as like the first experience of properly like taking locals like, semi-seriously is just so disheartening, because it's just such an annoying card. I can't put into words. If you did not experience a Mystic Mine burn deck, oh my god, consider yourself lucky. Holy shit, I'd rather take on 10 tier decks than 2 Mystic Mines. It's insane.
Thunderies. Thunderies are... They're not as annoying as it used to be because Barrow Statue is banned. But I'd say like Flutie's Nuts, top of Flutie's Nuts.
Yeah. I think if Barrier Statue was still there, they'd be higher, but no.
100%. Because the thing is, like, this deck dies to one hand trap. If you Ash your Imperm, their starter, unless they have like the one extender in the deck, they're done. Now, if they go off, this is one of the most annoying decks in the game to play against. And also Shifter can be a big issue. So yeah, you know, it's like, it's one of those decks where it's not too strong, but it's not fun to play against. But yeah, sometimes you just get lucky and you just imperm them once and they die. So yeah, I think they belong around here. Okay, I don't know what this deck's doing here. This deck's fine. Buster Blader, let's go.
My god.
Best deck.
There was a stage where I was not letting Sean play this against me. It was so annoying.
This was just pure Buster Blader too.
Yeah, it's just floodgates. That's what I hated about it. Like, we had an unwritten rule. Well, it wasn't even like I just said, do not fucking play this deck around me. When you start adding branded and stuff, that's fine, because at least the branded stuff did their own thing. Holy shit, Buster Blader I found so annoying.
Me and my homies love Buster Blader. What are you talking about? Let's go.
It's just so annoying in the sense that it's kind of like just lock you out of everything out of one trap card. I suppose now, having more experience playing with you playing it, I kind of know the intricate things about it. But I'm just thinking about like someone's first time like facing this deck, and then like they immediately just realize, oh shit, I can't do anything. It's a floodgate deck. It like let's say this here. This is just Buster Blader. Buster Blader itself is a fucking cancer deck.
All I gotta say is read the cards. Here's the thing. So if you know how to play Buster Blader, you know that you use the trap card prologue, you set up your little Buster Blader combo. Maybe you can lock your opponent out of the extra deck. That's pretty cool. But they're locked under this combo for like one turn. But most people just quit before they actually read the card and realize, oh, if I just like wait a turn, then they'll have nothing. So you know. And also with Bestials and DD Crow and all that, you can stop the Buster Blader combo pretty easily. But a lot of people just don't read the cards. So, you know, I don't think it's that bad. Now, I will forever be a Buster Blader defender because I love me some Buster Blader goodness. But, you know, I can understand. The lock is pretty damn good. If your deck doesn't have an out to it, then yeah, I can understand this deck is like toxic as all hell. But you know, it's not a meta deck, it's not like good.
Put it above Heroes. Come on. It's gotta go above Heroes. Here's the thing.
Let us know what you think in the comments.
We talked about like Heroes, at least you're kind of like setting up shit. It's not just like a flip a card and then that's it, you have a floodgate. This is literally just flip a card, you have a floodgate.
With extra steps, yes. But alright, fine, I'll give you that. Okay, Salamangrates. They're so bad. Nah. You know, we have a running joke on this channel that Salamangrates are trash, and you know, they kinda are. They're not like they're
not Salamangrate, just Salamangrate player.
Exactly, there you go. Like the deck is, you know, it's like good, new support and all that. I don't know what the new support does. It's probably decent. But I just don't know what this deck really does. So when I play against it, I'm just like kind of going blind into it. I have no respect for Salamangrates at all, to be honest with you. I just kind of like play, and if they mess me up, I'm like, why did that happen? That's bullshit. So, you know. But I know they're not a good deck. I'll give you that. If I actually read the cards, I'd probably have an easy time. But yeah, it's Salamangrates.
Who cares?
True. Alright, Spiral. Have you ever played against Spiral?
No, actually.
It is the worst experience of your fucking life.
I know they do hand rip and stuff, is it? Or something like that?
I don't think so. Like, I've played against them on Master Duel a few times, and they just set up, like, so many negates.
Right,
that
okay.
you just can't do anything. Like, oh my god, it's the fucking worst.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. It is probably pretty bad. I mean, like, they were absolutely neutered by the ban list when, like, they were at full power. Like, here's the thing. If the deck was tier 0... yeah, it was probably a fucking problem. So I will agree, it probably deserves to be where it is, even though I have no experience myself.
Tier... I kind of want to put tier at the top, but at the same time, I don't know. Like, obviously, right now in the game, tier is not that bad. But, again, if you've experienced full power tier, you know that deck was not fun to play against because they literally just play on your turn. And it's just, you know... I feel like I'm kind of used to it now. Like, I still play Master Duel, so tier is just, like, the most popular deck. So yeah, I'm just kind of like I've given in. This is just the deck. I'm you know, I understand now that I'll just suffer every time I play against it. But it's very annoying, especially when it first came out. People were doing window locks. Like, what the fuck? That's cringe.
Yeah, tier is just one of those decks. Again, it's one of these decks that kind of just did everything. It was annoying, of course, and can still be. But I think we're at a point now where everyone's seen tier so much that they kind of know what's in the gate. They kind of know how to interact with it. They kind of know how to toy around. It's literally one of these cases where the deck's been like around the block for so long that you kind of do know how to interact now. You're not as hopeless as you were before. And like it's been a little bit neutered by the ban list, so it is good to kind of see it like dial back a little bit. Is it worse than Kashtira? I don't know, to be honest with you. Full power, absolutely, but we never really saw full power tier against full power Kashtira, so I guess we'll never know. That's one match I'd love to see. Someone should like fucking make that happen. I think that'd be hilarious.
Be cool, yeah.
But yeah, I think it's in the right place. It can be annoying, but it can be outed. So I think Inspector Border's where it deserves to be.
Finally, the OG, the good old most annoying deck, Eldritch.
I fucking hate this deck.
This deck is so dead now, which is so funny because of how like absolutely like game destroying it was when it came out. Like I feel like this was the original toxic deck, you know what I mean? I know there's obviously stuff beforehand, but this was like one of the first like really annoying decks. I feel like for a lot of people this is like one of the worst decks they've ever played against.
Yeah, I hated seeing it. I saw it so much on Nexus. It was so annoying all the fucking times you played against it. And I wouldn't mind, but it was just kind of the sense that it's literally just a trap deck with like a big ass fucking boss that like reoccurs itself. I think the thing about Eldritch is that I've played against it so many times. I've played against it. I can't even count on my fingers and toes how many times I played against it, and that would just be in the span of a few days. But I still don't know what the fuck the cards do. I have no fucking idea, because everything's a trap. It all looks the fucking same. And I'm like, Eldritch has so much text in it, I'm like, I'm not going to read this 20 fucking times. It's so annoying in that sense. That's one thing that's annoying. I feel like Endymions suffer from this as well. One like little thing that makes some of these decks annoying is the amount of fucking reading you have to do.
Yeah.
It's like you are here to play a card game, not read War and Peace. It is insane the amount of text on some of these cards, and Eldritch is a perfect example of just information overload. You don't know which part to be reading. The traps are annoying. The deck is annoying. I'm sure the player base are annoying. I've never met any of you in real life, but I'm sure you'd annoy the fuck out of me.
Alright, so that's it for the list. Let us know what you think in the comments. Do you have any ideas of cards that should go up on this list? If you do, let us know, because we love some annoying decks around here. If you think we should change anything, let us know. And yeah, give us suggestions for other tier lists in the future. Thanks for watching!